Welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune page. Here you will find original news programming, exclusive digital events, and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
Welcome to a celebration at the precipice of time, where the power of women knows no bounds. Experience her story unfolding, a reawakening of our collective consciousness to the monumental achievements of our foremothers, a tribute to the battles they fought, rights they've secured, and paths they've paved that women all over the world are continuing to navigate and expand upon. Her stories are unfolding, empowering growing, building legacies of pioneering women by sharing their stories, celebrating their accomplishments, and embracing the rights and privileges they've bestowed to us for generations to come.
Welcome everyone to another episode, another series of Her Story Unfolding, honoring women past, present, and future. We are so delighted today because today we're bringing in our co-executive producer of Her Story Unfolding here at the Los Angeles Tribune. It is an absolute honor to be able to feature Dr. Emily Letran and all of the wonderful things that she is doing, from business to dentistry to, her influence in other businesses and other voices. And so today we would love to invite you to share and, invite others to listen, because today we are absolutely going to hear someone whose story is so empowering, coming from being a refugee in America to where she is now doing a lot of good things and serving in a lot of ways, in many ways, our country and beyond internationally. So Alicia, I would love to ask, how excited are you about today?
I'm delighted, Ava. Welcome to another episode in our series, Her Story Unfolding. In yesterday's segment, we spent some time highlighting the women across history who have created and fought so hard for women's rights in so many facets of home life, work life, and beyond. And it is with immense pride that today we get to introduce the co-executive producer of Her Story Unfolding, Dr. Emily Letran. As Ava mentioned, Dr. Emily is a serial entrepreneur. She owns multiple dentist practices. She is a speaker, has spoken on the TEDx stage, and is a performance coach, a certified performance coach that really helps other individuals find their voice to tell their stories. So it is with immense pride that we bring Dr. Emily Letran onto the stage today.
Dr. Emily, welcome to Her Story Unfolding. First of all, I want to thank you for executive producing this show with the Los Angeles Tribune. It speaks to the testament of your belief and your passion for women and empowering women. Tell me more, Dr. Emily, why women empowerment, why Her Story Unfolding, why is it close to your heart?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. It's an absolute honor. I'm always about promoting others, sharing stories together, because I believe that that's the only way we grow. We each have our strength and a little bit of weakness, right? But when we are collaborating together, then we stronger than ever. And when I know that there's the opportunity to support the Los Angeles Tribune, that has such a legacy, and right now expanding into so many things. Every day you guys are educating me on what you're doing because I don't know everything that you're doing. When I'm able to participate and to contribute and to build the legacy, I think it's my absolute honor. And why women? Well, that's who we are. It's not just us, it's our sisters, it's our moms and aunts who have gone before us. And I personally have a daughter. So I would love for her to be right there on the right path, understanding that she has the support for herself, understanding that there are people across the globe who are very similar to her, have similar struggles. And what an honor to be able to be part of this.
Well, it's an honor for us to, Dr. Emily. And I know that for one thing, you wrote a book about women, right? Like, and which speaks to the fact that even before her story unfolding, this is already a pursuit that, that you've been following your heart with. So tell us about your book.
Yeah, so I've been very blessed to write and co-author multiple books. During the It's actually during the pandemic, I just had this drive to write about women. And I'm coming from Vietnam as a refugee to this country at 13 years old, and I actually came to the country with my aunt. My mom had passed away, and my dad was left behind with my two younger siblings. We didn't have enough money to pay our way to escape from the country as a whole family. So we got my aunt and her two kids, and then me and my older brother, and then two other cousins. So we have this tiny little extended family. Uh, we were always about striving, right? I came here trying to learn English. I knew that I was at the bottom, so there's only one way to go, which is up. And when you struggle and you overcome challenges as a person, it's one thing. When you're doing that as somebody of an ethnic origin, and especially as a woman, that's another thing. And as I become more successful and more accomplished, I realized that some of us women, uh, we know about that glass ceiling, right, that people talk about, but sometimes we're the one creating the glass ceiling. And what I'm talking about there is our personal growth. If we have certain limiting belief, we are the one holding ourselves under that ceiling that we creating ourselves. And especially for a lot of us entrepreneurs, we're not working for any corporation. We don't have to climb any ladder. It's just the ladder that we create ourselves. And how far do we want to go up? And so what I realize is a lot of us women, we have the belief that we have to fulfill everybody's expectations, whether it's society or just the family. And if you're Asian, it's the extended family. So you're expected, and these are some of the chapters in my book. You're expected to be that perfect mom. You're expected to be that best daughter. You're expected to be that exceptional entrepreneur, that big boss. You're expected to be that sexy, loving wife. You're expected to be all of that. And when are you going to be yourself after you fulfill all those roles? And so I tackle all of those beliefs, and I share what I do and my belief. And I'm sure it could be controversial, right? Because I'm one of those moms that I would rather spend the time with my kids and leave the house a little dirty, right? I used to tell my friends when the kids were younger, you want to come visit me, you better give me 2 weeks notice so I can clean my house. And actually, whenever we start cleaning the house, the kids would go, who's coming? Who's visiting? And I'm sharing that because for me, it's not about the clean house. It's about how happy you are as a wife, as a mom, as a woman, right? If what's fulfilling you is your work, or your focus on your work at a certain time, or if it's hanging out with your kids, and cleaning the house is not part of that fulfillment, then either you're going to do it at a time when you have the time for that. You could engage your spouse to help you with that. You could make the kids help you with that. It doesn't have to be all you. And I think a lot of time when people talk about burnout, they talk about stress. And when I have that conversation with the entrepreneurs, and especially the women, it's always come down to, you know what, I got to do this and I got to do that, and I need to do this. And when I'm asking them, well, were you asked to do that? Did you have, like, somebody told you that you have to do that? No, but this is how it's supposed to be. Well, who said it's supposed to be that, right? So a lot of time it's the thinking that we have, and if we're not in a bigger room having bigger discussion conversation, if we're not on a platform like this where we see people just breaking barrier left and right and ceiling or whatever you want to call it, where we see people doing stuff that we look at it and we say, hey, I could do that too, but why am I not doing that? And those are the conversations I have with my friends, with my colleagues, and I love to see the conversation here, right? Because that's who we are. We really can do everything. My book is To Have It All Without Sacrifice. And it the sacrifice that you should do is for yourself, and you don't have to sacrifice for everybody else. And coming here, and I watch my aunt being mom and dad, raising these 6 kids. Only 2 of them are her own, and sacrificing a lot, but she could do it, right? As a single parent. And you can have it all if you decide to. And if you can't figure it out, the people like me, they're those thought leaders, the trailblazer that you can learn from, and just do what they've done. Learn the shortcut, learn the best way to achieve all of that.
You're so inspiring, Dr. Emily. I imagine I could just like imagine the amount of barriers and mindsets you have to shift, coming from being a refugee, leaving the country without your parents, and sharing a home with extended family, and feeling like you're even saying, I heard you say that you're coming in last, and that you were at the bottom, to come from that and to be where you are right now, giving back. You didn't have to co-executive produce her story unfolding, but what I see in the wealth of your generosity is your giving back to to where you were once, right? And to see your journey. You're such an inspiration of what's possible. No matter how bottom any woman is out there and how last we think we are, we could look at Dr. Emily and say exactly what you said, Dr. Emily. If she can do it, like, why wouldn't I? And if she's done it, like, why am I not? And I love what you said, Dr. Emily, about community and about people, just reaching out to people who have already made it and done it. And I'm just so inspired by your story, and not just your story of accomplishing, but even more your story of generosity and giving back right now, creating multiple businesses and mentoring others. What a powerful example you are, Dr. Emily. Alicia, I wanted to give you, the, kind of like the space for your thoughts, because I'm just like really, really delighted, Dr. Emily, that we have you today.
Yes, Dr. Emily, it is a joy to have you on today and to hear more of your story unfolding. Dr. Emily, you talked a little bit about what things were like when you first came here, being raised by your aunt. What was it like for you growing up as a little girl? What were your experiences like that got you the determination and the mindset to say, this is my path that I'm going to go down? And how did that ultimately end up you into dentistry?
Yes. So, the I didn't have a choice. My dad basically said, "Hey, you're the oldest girl in the family. You need to go with your aunt, and I will join you later." And as a 13 years old kid, you believe your dad, right? And he did try to come. It just didn't quite happen. So as I went through that journey, uh, I think I was lucky coming here younger, because when you're younger, you're a little bit innocent, right? You You don't take a lot of things with a grain of salt as an adult. You're looking at things and you have these different perspectives. But as a kid, it was more, it could be simply something like, I wanted to have a typewriter, right? We have to do some report paper, and I love it when we can handwrite it. This is in high school. But if you have to type, I didn't own a typewriter. I remember biking to the public library to use a typewriter, and the typewriter was broken. So there was one word missing. So every time I typed that letter, I go, oh, well, this letter O is going to look really weird. And I remember having joy when I first bought an electric typewriter, right? So forget about computers and all that. We're going from manual typewriter to electric, right? So the journey is always about, how can I get a little better, right? How can I not afford, but how can I get to that? Is it, how much money do I need to create? And so I did, I was a newspaper delivery, right? And I did telemarketer at one point. That was hilarious because when I applied for the job, they said it's 6 hours, and I'm thinking, what? I want to work 8 hours to get paid for 8 hours, and what it turned out was after 4 hours, you're so tired of talking, you want to go home, right? So then I realized, oh, that's why the job is only 6 hours. So these little things that I think that I have to figure out, right? And always looking for opportunity. When I got here, my aunt told me, you need to go into healthcare because it's easier to find a job. That was literally the advice. And so I was looking at different parts of healthcare, and you're gonna laugh because I didn't want to be a doctor. I did not like the fact that people were wearing beepers, right? Little did I know, now we have a cell phone attached to our life. But I was like, I don't want to be getting beeped during the middle of the night. And I interviewed a pharmacist, and he said he counted pills. So I said, forget counting pills. And so another friend just told me, hey, you should go be a dentist. So I actually went into dentistry not knowing much. I think a lot of people are going in dentistry because they had a certain experience with dentistry that it changed their life. The other part are people who have family who are dentists, and so they kind of know that. I went in not knowing much. I had a couple of fillings in my mouth, and it was quite a journey. But what I learned from that, and when I started working, was, this job had this special part, which is relationship, that is built in because people come back to see you, right? Which is nice. But then what happened after that is, how do you keep that relationship going? And I've been very blessed. My last practice that I had, and I sold it when I moved. Uh, I was there for 26 years, and I have patients who've been with me for 26 years. And I can guarantee you it's not my dentistry, okay? it's, it's the personality, it's the values that you stand for, it's the team that you create. It's because it's at the end of the day, when people come to see you, and I want to give this advice to our entrepreneurs, when people come to you for a product or service, the assumption is decent, right? Like, you have a product, the product works. You have a service, the service worked. You're decent, you graduate from school, you got a degree. It's what's beyond that. It's what you stand for. It's who you are. So I have, for example, funny signs in my office, crazy signs, right? One of them say, all men are created equal, which is why women are in charge, right? And there are people who get offended by that. And I said, hey, you know what? I have a sense of humor. I like to say, that, hey, I didn't even write that. I bought that sign in Vegas, right? So, but what it is you show your personality. You have that courage to actually show off yourself. And I think it's very freeing for a lot of us when we try to be confined to whatever space, whatever role that we think society put us there, and all these expectations. If we can break out of that, I think we're gonna become the people that we are supposed to be.
Thank you, Dr. Emily. Oh my gosh. There's so many things to unpack with what you just shared. But one of the things that I really want to follow is when you said we get to have the courage to show up and be ourselves. I'm sure you had a lot of practice doing that because I could just imagine you came to America as a refugee from Vietnam when Vietnamese weren't popular, or but probably popular for the not so delightful reasons, right? And what was that like for you learning English, being Vietnamese, coming as a refugee from Vietnam, and the process of discovering yourself and who you are and being courageous to show up in who you are and not I mean go against the grain of wanting to fit in because I came from the Philippines myself, and I had years of wanting to just look and sound like everyone else, right? So what was that journey like for you, Dr. Emily?
Well, I want to I want to share this with everyone. And it is, yes, the belief is we need to fit in. And more than 30 years in business, what you need is to stand out, you know, to be to be different. Because when we first started, yes, I would speak with an accent. I have to repeat myself because I know people didn't quite get what I was saying. To this day, my kids still say, "Mom, your enunciation is wrong. Okay, you're supposed to say the word this way, and you're saying it whatever way." And I said, "Hey, if they understand me, that's all I care. It doesn't have to be correct enunciation." I think a lot of us we want to fit in, whether we from coming from an ethnic background, or we're women, in a male dominated world. Um, be yourself. Be your unique self. Um, doing what you do best, giving 100%, so that if somebody were to criticize me in whatever thing that I do, maybe I go and give a speech and they say, well, it wasn't good enough, etc. As long as I know that I have given 100% of myself, I'm not going to have regret. I'm not going to feel bad because I already did everything I've done, right? However, you also want to do the training, you also want to learn, you always want to make yourself better, to improve yourself. Um, because nobody start out being great. I mean, there's certain people that start out being great, but I think the majority of us, we all start at zero experience, right? We haven't done certain things. We're doing things for the first time. We all have that. I see David Fagan on on the live stream making some comments. He'll be the first one who tell you that he was dragging me on stage to make me into a speaker, and I was fighting him every step of the way. And now he said, I give you a mic and I can't shut you up. So the thing is, you have to grow. And I want to give great recognition to all the mentors that have taught me, that have challenged me, that have pulled me out of my shelf. I was sharing earlier before the broadcast with both of you that it took me 2 years to become more courageous, right? And nobody would say, "Hey, I need a coach because I need to be more courageous." No, what it is I need a coach because I want to do X. But in order to do X, you got to have that courage
Yeah.
to break those limiting belief and to actually believe in yourself, because as you all know, the greatest coach are the ones that can see you beyond your potential right now, right? And that's, I think that's one of the biggest breakthrough, is when somebody actually can see who you can be, and to get you to that point, the question is, do you want to go there? And I think that's the other part, because some people, they okay. Like, I have my friends who are dentists and they have one practice and they perfectly fine with it. And then, over my 30 years being a dentist, I've owned 8 practices at different times, and I'm buying this one and I'm selling that one and I'm moving and this and that. Like yesterday, my CPA emailed me a practice listing, and my daughter was just cracking up and she said, "Doesn't he know that you said right now you're just gonna stay with two? And then you're gonna do these things." And I said, "No, but it's because people know I like to grow, right? And the way I grow is with multiple locations. Like each location can grow, but when you have multiple locations, you can accelerate that growth. So it because I'm showing people what I'm doing so they know what I'm about, who I'm about, and a lot of that I would give credit to all the mentors, all the coaches, the consultants that I work with. David Fagan was my first business coach. Sharon Lecter was my first mentor, um, and I got certified with Brennan Bouchard. I'm working right now in marketing with Dan Kennedy. I mean, I could give you this whole list of names because I didn't figure it out myself. I cheated. I learned from the best, and I just adapt and implement to the best of my knowledge. I tell people I'm the most tech challenged person, right? But hey, people say, well, but you have this and this and this. Yeah, I know because somebody else did that for me. I'm all about just doing your best with your natural talent and just please delegate everything else. Because if that's not your talent and you try to figure it out, you're just going to be frustrated. You're just going to feel burned out because you're trying to do so much. And if you're asking yourself to do things that you're not comfortable with, unless it's something that you need to do, um, just don't do it. Just do do what you like.
Focus in your area of genius and try and figure out how to get a team or coaches to help you figure it out. And there's so many gems that you shared with that. Like David Fayan said earlier, your ability to see ahead of the curve and be 4 to 5 steps ahead. And it sounds like your entrepreneurialness, your business savvy and endeavors, it started young, right? You said that you used to distribute papers and do telemarketing and understand that aspect of the business and continuously growing and developing the skills. I know that you just recently attended a dental conference, and to be someone that has owned 8 dental practices but still continuously goes and shows up at industry events to speak with individuals, to learn from others, to teach individuals is a testament to your continuous learning. And it's not cheating. You are looking to see and understand who out there is doing something well and trying to figure out how you can learn. It's all about that continuous learning and that personal development. I think something that is so beautiful about you, Dr. Emily, is that you don't just say it, you live it, right? You live what you say. You are a coach, but you are open to coaching, right? You are a coach helping people to push themselves and transform and found their authority in their voice because you went through that experience. You said 2 years of trying to figure out just how to do it or what to say next or what. And so it's beautiful that you really live what it is that you teach. You don't just say it, but you are it, right? And it comes from that place and that push to continuously learn. So you've had a lot of experiences. You have had you've owned multiple practices. The fact that you had one of your practices for 26 years is a testament to the relationships that you build and that rapport that you build with individuals. Know that you have exceptional leverage coaching. What are some of the kind of concepts or mindsets that you work through with the clients that you work with, and what are 2 to 3 aspects of that coaching that you could share with the audience today to get them thinking about how to push through maybe some of their own barriers that they may have?
Yeah, surprisingly, I think one of the most common thing that we all deal with is not having enough clarity. And people would set goals, and when I ask them why that goal, they don't know. People would say, I want $1 million business. And I ask them, well, how come it's not 2 million? Well, they don't know because it's different when you set your goal at 1 million versus 2 million. But a lot of times, sometimes people just want to do what the other people are doing, right? Like if it's a dentist, they say, oh, I want $1 million practice because the guy down the street, that's what he has, right? And when you don't have that clarity, I think the main challenge there is if you hit a bump, if you hit challenge, it's very easy for you to give it up because it wasn't you don't have a good reason to pursue that goal, if that makes any sense. So having that clarity is, why do I want this, right? What are the values that I cherish that is non-negotiable? And then not just you having that clarity, the people around you need to know, why do you want to be a speaker? Why do you want to be a coach? Why can you just be happy being a dentist, right? If the other two things are giving me the fulfillment that dentistry cannot, because dentistry give me certain things and then the coaching and the speaking give me other things, then I need to communicate that with my family, so they understand why I'm doing that, and then I need to communicate that with the world. So I could be invited on platforms like this, right? I could be invited to opportunities, but I got to put it out there. So I think clarity is very big in the entrepreneurial world, and it's big for personal growth. um, that's the one thing. Courage is one of my favorite subjects because people always give you the excuse, right? I can't do that because I was going to do that, but, right? And they don't want to say, uh, I don't have the balls for it, right? I couldn't make that commitment. And and it's really come down with courage. And I don't mean blind courage. Just go do it because people are daring you. It's more, hey, if that's what you want, and it's going to take you changing yourself into another person, meaning, you got some training, you become a different person, you're stronger, you're better, you're more bold, all of these things. It takes courage to develop yourself into a new person. And is that because sometimes it takes that new person to get you to the goal that you want. And I think a lot of time we don't think of it that way. We give in to other circumstances. I tell people all the time, you have that courage to commit to, doing all these things for your kids. You have that courage to, take care of the family. Maybe it's an elderly parent, right? Maybe you have a special kid. Uh, how about the courage for yourself? How about living it up for yourself? And it's not about being selfish. And especially since we're in the International Women Month, a lot of us, we feel guilty because we say, hey, it's not supposed to be about me. I got to take care of the whole world first. But actually it's not. It's, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of the whole world. And unless you grow yourself, you can't grow and you can't serve more people. And so I think courage is a very, very big deal. People just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
They dress it up in some other names, right? I would just go straight and say, hey, stop BSing, just hey, if you're the boss, just do that. And of course it took some courage for me to say that, and because I want to stand my ground. I want to
Yeah.
know. I want people to know who I am. And I think in the world of coaching, a lot of time it is getting that. I would help the client get that clarity, why they want certain things, and then I would tell them, hey, you want to do those. It will take some shift, right, in your mindset. It may take you to change your schedule. Like if somebody, that I was talking to a potential client the other day, and she was saying, well, I want to sell this office and maybe buy another one in a different area. And my thing to her was, hey, your current office, you're a big fish in a small pond because she's in a small area. You already dominate that area. Why would you sell? Keep that one. You want to grow, go open another one. So then I was talking to her yesterday, and she said, well, I listened to you, so I went and I opened another one, and I'm all, and she just about to sign up as a client. But I am so blessed to be able to give an advice and somebody's following it, right? Like they trust you enough to follow it. And I know it's going to work for her because, because that's the motto. The motto is looking at the marketing, looking at the market, looking at who you're serving. And if you strategically set those things up, it's going to work.
That's so awesome. There are three things, Dr. Emily, that out of everything that you say so much wealth in everything that you're saying, but I picked up three things that I want to kind of like dig on. The first one is knowing what you want, being clear in what you want. And I feel like, coming from being a refugee and being at the bottom, coming in last to where now you're blessed to be in a position where people listen to you. Well, first, you've modeled it, Dr. Emily. You've modeled it. Like, how would people not listen to you? How would the people you coach, you mentor, not listen to you when you've walked it? Right? You've walked it. You lived it. You've proven it. You're the testimony. Your story is the proof that what you advise, that what you've tried and what you've discovered works, right? And I say it's discovery because I know there's a lot of trial and error in there, right? It's not like you finally came to the one thing and that's the one thing. I knew that, through the process of entrepreneurship, we make mistakes, we have errors, and then, you have mentors and coaches. So the first thing that I wanted to emphasize was when you said, know what you want, desire. It starts with the desire, right, Dr. Emily?
Yes, yes,
You
absolutely.
desired. Even
Yes.
if even from where you were and not having resources and delivering newspapers and being a telemarketer, you desired. And I think people that come from poverty have that as an advantage. We desire. Who came from being an immigrant, a refugee, whose parents, like Alicia, is from Haiti, and I mean she's born in America, but her parents are from Haiti, right, Alicia?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So some of the advantages that we have coming from almost nothing, right, is the desire. And that desire, it brings me to the memory of Steve Jobs. You say, stay hungry, stay foolish. It's that desire that allows you. It's, I think that the greatest demise of, women and individuals out there is if they don't desire. If they just become complacent and be okay and accept where they are. It's desire that moves us forward. The second thing, Dr. Emily, is I noticed that you've invested in yourself a lot. The people that you've talked about, the people that you've mentioned as has mentored you, you, you don't you don't pay little amount of money on them, right? Like they're not small amounts of investment, but there's something about how you believe in yourself, you believe in your destiny, and how much you desire what you wanted to create in your future that allowed you to make those investments. Um, what was How did you talk yourself through those investments, Dr. Emily? Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs, go through that challenge of, what I did before didn't quite work. It didn't really, bring a lot, and they second guess themselves if they really want to invest or if it's going to be worth it. How did you walk yourself through that self-talk of really investing on mentors and coaches to be where you are right now?
Yes, and I think the two things that you said are related, right? So there's a saying, if there's a will, there's a way, right? If you have that will, you figure out the way. And I think when I started the journey, so let's just talk about the journey of coaching. When I started it, I said I want to serve a lot of people. And so I was looking for the people out there who are serving others. And of course, one of the things that I would encourage everybody to do is please go and attend events. Please go and, attend these kind of forums so you can learn what's out there, what's possible. Because when you know the possibilities, you raise up that desire, right? Like you want more. And I tell people all the time when I'm coaching and I talk about money, well, money is a metrics. If you make more money, I don't know if you're going to go buy a bigger house or you're going to go and donate that to charity. It doesn't matter. It's just a metric. So, this year you're doing X and next year you're doing X plus one. So the money is just a metric, but how much you want to grow? Do you want 2X, 5X, 10X? They got to be that goal and that strong desire. And then, the investment that we make in the mentors and the coaches, uh, I learned from very early in my business that that's how you accelerate, right? So again, going back to the desire, how fast do you want to do this? And I call it to fast track. To if you work with somebody who have already done what you want to do, or they already help other people do what you want to do, I think that might be the right person for you to invest in. And and when you know that that person is successful, and when you look at the people who work with them who are successful, I'm sure you can do your due diligence. But if it's right there in front of you, what else do you need? People, I think a lot of us, we get into that mode of paralysis by analysis, right? If you keep talking about, okay, if I'm going to invest 5,000 with you, how much am I going to make? Right. As you know, there's a business concept called opportunity cost. If you didn't invest that 5,000 and get that opportunity, how much more could you have grown? And I'm one of those people that I believe, if if it's the right move, if it's the right decision, God's gonna help me, right? So I'll be the first one to tell you, I would sign up for these programs when I don't have all of that money in the bank. The first year I started coaching, I tell people I signed up with three different people, and I don't know, that was it wasn't 100K among the three, but it was up there. And it's because each of the person that I was working with was bringing something unique, something different. And because I was blessed, I have that clarity. I know that's what I want. It's very easy for me to make that decision, right? So when you don't know what you want, and I tell you, hey, you know what? Why don't you just sign up for this? And I don't care if it's $500 or $5,000. You're gonna ask, well, why am I signing up for this? Is it something that I want? So I think in order to make a decision on an investment, you need to know what you want. It's very similar to somebody going and buying a house in an expensive neighborhood, right? Most likely as a parent, because you want that school district for your kids. And then you just stretch yourself to the max. I tell my friends, okay, I just bought this house and you guys can come over and sit on the floor, right? Because I don't have any more money for for furniture. And but I wanted that house in that particular area because it has good school district. So I would stretch myself for my kids. So what I'm asking everybody to do is, what are you going to stretch for yourself though? Because again, going back to being a woman, we always do things for our kids, for our family, extended family, elderly parents, everybody like that. But when did you stretch yourself and invest in yourself? Because I'm a better person because of all those investments. And of course, a lot of work, right? It wasn't just, let me just pay this person and then stuff's going to happen. No, you pay to get that relationship where you can ask questions, where you can get the answer, where you can get the insights. Um, and I think that's worth a whole lot of money because it cut down on a lot of time. And when we starting out, or we mid journey, or maybe we want to exit, being able to connect to certain people who is specialized in doing all of those milestones, it means a ton because you don't have to figure things out yourself. I mean, I got so many difficult questions answer because I know the right people, and I can reach out to them, and I can just get the answer. And they would be open to that because I have invested with them, right? And it's not because, like I said, it's not just the money, it's the time, it's the work that you put in. Because some of these mentors, it's not about paying them, they want you to grow, they make you grow, they encourage you to grow. And so my call to action is to invest in yourself. And whether that means you get a coach or a mentor, whether that means you go and you take a whole series of videos and you study it, do that investment, but you do it for yourself. Because when you get better, you can serve more people. You be a better wife, a better mom, a better sister, a better aunt, a better leader. Uh, the world will be better because you're better.
The world will be better because you are better. I just want to sit on that and let that soak in because I call it the everyone but, right? We think about everyone else but ourselves, right? And what could be done when we can put that care into ourselves, because if we don't have it within us, if we are not full, then how can we give out to others? Sometimes I say it's not that we have a half empty cup, but maybe it's a leaky cup, right? How can we pour into ourselves, teach ourselves the skill sets, invest in those coaches to continue to push us forward so that we have more that we can pour out with the others that we engage with. And I love that you said, where there is a will, there's a way. That is a phrase that I grew up hearing ever since I was a young child. I actually have a engraved book case that my mother gave me with that phrase, where there is a will, there is a way, because it's about having that commitment to figure it out, that commitment to be scrappy, to figure it out, to show up. And something that you said is, even if I didn't have it at the time, I knew that I was going to invest in where I wanted to be, and having that clarity, having that roadmap of where you want to be, it helps you make your decisions. And sometimes they say it's when you have faith, it's about you take that first step and then things will align to help support you to where you're going, but you need to know where you're going so that
Right.
things can kind of help support that journey and that drive. Dr. Emily, you own practices, you practice dentistry, you are a coach. What are some of the things that you do to help navigate your day, your week? You do a lot, and you also show up for a lot of people, which can take a lot of energy out of you to pour into those that you work with. So, and that you care for as your patient. So what are some of the things that you do to fill your cup and to keep it flowing so that you are able to give to others and to support others and help drive them forward?
Yes, I think the very first thing I would encourage everyone to do is to give yourself grace, right? It's okay not to be perfect. Maybe you miss a call. It's actually okay. Uh, maybe you didn't do something well. It's actually okay. There, most likely that's the next time. So to put things in perspective, I think is very, very important. And that's one of the things that I think I was gifted. I'm lucky to have that perspective. Of course, I learned that from the mentors, but it's sort of your personality also, right? To just go with the flow. Things are not going to be perfect, and it's okay. You don't have to be perfect. So have grace for yourself. The second thing is take time for yourself. I tell people, people say, you meditate or whatever, or you exercise, whatever works for you. I could have 100 of people meditating and I don't want to meditate, then I'm not going to do that, right? Maybe for me, I'm just going to go outside and walk for 5 minutes. I tell people during my day, if I'm stressed, I'm going to pull up some funny video, or maybe I look at funny picture. Maybe I look at my kid's baby picture, because you will always crack a laugh when you look at your kid's baby picture. It instantly will change your state. It will change your mood, because all of a sudden it get light, right? It very, very simple thing. Take a break. If especially for people who sit in front of the computer, even if you just close your eyes and rest, it'll be better if you walk away from the computer. But you know take a break, because there's always going to be more work to be done. I think in one of the books, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, they say there's always going to be small stuff, right? If you have a stack of post-it notes on things that you need to do, as soon as you're done with them, you probably have another stack. So why are we sweating all that? And in a day, just focus on two or three things. I know everybody. I joke with people all the time. Who has a to-do list? Everybody raise a hand. Who does everything on the to-do list? There are fewer hands going up. And then I learned this. I first heard this from Joe Polish, and then he gave credit to somebody else. Right now, I'm blanking on the name, but how about a not to do list? Shit that you're not going to do, or you refuse to do, or you used to do before, but now you're not doing it. And when you do that, you actually will give yourself that peace of mind that, hey, wait a minute, that was on the not to do list. I'm not doing that, right? And then it's also very easy to say no. If you ask me to do 5 things and they're not in line with what's important to me, I'm just going to say no. I'm going to say no without regrets. I'm going to say no and I don't feel guilty about it. And if I have to explain to you, it's just going to be, hey, it's not on my agenda today. Let's talk about it in 2 weeks. So I think those are, it may sound like small things, but I think those are things that you do to take care of yourself. And I think what's most important is to be at peace with yourself, to be able to say, hey, I try my best. Today may be one of those days, right? It's okay as long as I'm happy. I got my family, I got my business. I'll I'll try again tomorrow, right? Maybe it'll be a better day. It'll be a better month because as you know, shift is always going to happen, right? Even if we on a great path, something is going to knock you off that path. If you're in business long enough, I guarantee it's going to knock you off that path. And I've been knocked off several times. uh, One of them took years, but and I credit those years from, I got somebody to learn from. Like I got something to focus on, rather than giving my time to all the worries and all the stress. I'm just going to focus on this part of my business. I'm going to focus on my family, and it kept me on path, and it helped me go through it. So I think really it comes down and it comes back to yourself. If you can just grow yourself and if you could take care of yourself, I think you can tackle anything in the world.
That's powerful, Dr. Emily. And you said, it may seem like little things, but the little things, they add up. They come down to big things, and big experiences. And love that you shared grace and have peace. But what I also hear as well, tucked in there, as well as gratitude, being grateful for what you have and what is around you, and really taking the time. And I love that you said if 100 people are meditating, it doesn't mean that I need to meditate too. Like maybe I'm just going to go for a walk for 5 minutes, right? Like just because it works for someone else, it doesn't mean that it has to be your system, but it's really about having the intentionality of what am I going to do today for me to take a break, to unplug from what it is that I'm going. And I think you talked about it earlier. When everyone is trying to fit in, I'm like, to be great in business, you don't want to fit in, you want to stand out, right? So what can you do for you, not to fit into what everyone else is doing, but to really take a self-check to figure out, what do I need to do right now? What do I like to do to unplug? And if it's watching a funny video, if it's looking at a picture of your kids, like doing the things that make you happy, are critical. And those are so many gems that you've shared for individuals watching live and those watching the replay, that they can implement today. They can implement right now, if it's just taking a break after watching this broadcast, or doing something that makes them laugh or brings them joy. So many great gems, but love that they're anchored in peace, gratitude, and really putting self first in a world where so many things are grabbing for your attention. So many people are grabbing for your attention. What are you doing to fill yourself and to put yourself first is a message and a theme that we've heard a lot during our discussion with you today, Emily, that are so important. It has been such a pleasure to have you on, Dr. Emily. With this conversation, I feel like so many gems you're sharing. It could continue and continue on, and I know that we'll continue to have you on as part of Her Story Unfolding, but would love for you to share some closing remarks for our audience today, Dr. Emily. You talked about so much, from your entrepreneurial journey to really investing in yourself, to how you engage with your clients and from a mindset perspective, to how you support and take care of yourself. What are some closing remarks that you would like to share with our audience today?
Yes, I would love for everyone to honor yourself. Um, Honor the struggle, right? Everybody got a struggle, whether they share it or not. You have a struggle, I have a struggle. Honor that struggle, because that struggle will help you grow. honor yourself, take care of yourself, put yourself first, especially for the women. For God's sake, just put yourself first sometime, right? Because I'm a mom, and I got three grown children now, uh, with a lot of work, right? And I can tell you almost every time I put the kids first. Even now when they're 27 and 23 and 21, I still put them first. But now I can also put myself first a little bit more than years ago. Put yourself first because you know that you can make a difference when you're at your best. And I think anybody would be able to tell. The one time when I made that great decision, when I did this and I did that, it's because you were in that moment of genius, right? People say, and it's probably because you put yourself first, because you gave yourself that time to think, to decide, all of those things. And I really want everybody to do that, because I am sick and tired of people saying they don't have freaking time. I'm just so sick of people saying that. And then I turn around and they on Facebook posting 20 freaking comments, right? I think one time, I think I put on online, this is a couple years back, because I think I had just come back from my travel. So I was wide awake, and I put something, I put a note, I made a post, and I mean, 200 people or so start commenting. And this is the time when, if you're in Pacific Standard Time, you should be sleeping, right? And if you're in Eastern Time, maybe you should be awake. I don't know. But I was wide awake, and it was late. But my point is, everybody just start commenting, and I'm thinking, how come these people are not sleeping? Right? Like, they're online, but what is it for? I mean, I knew I wasn't sleeping because of the jet lagging. And then, so I see that over and over again. People say, I don't have money to do this. And then you see them talking about some product that they invest in, that may or may not work for their business, right? Because it's one of those shiny object, and they say they don't have time. And then they ask me, how come you have so much time? And I say, what do you mean I have more time? I have the same freaking 24 hours like you. But I just decided that, like, this not this next weekend, but not this weekend, but this next weekend, I've decided I'm going to go to Cleveland on, take a red eye to Cleveland, attend a mastermind, and then I'm going to fly back to California to attend a Vietnamese movie screening. And then I'm going to take a red eye back to Cleveland because I'm going to be in that book launch with Dan Kennedy. And then after that, I'm going to go to DC to speak at a mom business group. I'm not crazy. It's because I decide that I'm going to do those things. And how do I make that time? Well, because I give myself that time. Nobody's going to give me permission to be doing, flying back and forth and doing all these crazy things. I'm giving that to myself.
Right.
And I think we should all start being the boss of ourselves. Like, just give yourself permission to do stuff that will make a difference for you. And and not it's not about being selfish. um Ava would know, we Asian women, we are not supposed to be selfish. We're supposed to take care of everybody. And if they have a chance, they would have you take care of the whole village too, and that's okay. But when I decide to make the time for myself, I should not have that regret. I should give myself everything, just like I was giving everything to other people.
What a message, what a message, what a message, Dr. Emily. So much shared, and you got to give the time for yourself. So much shared there, but I love that you put yourself first, because there is just one you, right? And
Yeah.
it goes back to that clarity, that courage to put yourself first, and the grace in the process of figuring it all out. But like you said, how you invest your time is important, and the fact that you are going back and forth, that you are investing in masterminds, that you are continuously putting yourself in spaces to grow. You've done so much, but you're continuing to push yourself to grow and be in the spaces that you want to be, is a testament, and you live it. And this is why you're such an amazing coach, Dr. Emily, because you live it. The things that you share with your clients, you have your own coaches, you engage with them. So it has been truly a pleasure, Dr. Emily, to have you on Her Story Unfolding. It's been great to hear your story unfold, and we know that it's continuing, which is why it's called Unfolding, because we're just continuing to flip the pages of the books of our lives. And it's been a pleasure to hear about your story, and we know that we're connected and we'll be continuously watching you. But thank you so much for joining us today. For those of you that are tuning in, we hope that you learned a lot today from Dr. Emily. I know that I have. Please share this broadcast with those in your community, and always remember to put yourself first and have clarity on your goals, because then it can help you figure out all that you can do next. So thank you, Dr. Emily, for joining us today. We appreciate it. Ava, to you.
I'm not sure how my internet is and if you could hear me, but I just want to appreciate you so much, Dr. Emily. And for our audience who joined us, thank you for joining us. And we want to invite you to another MoRock show tonight at 6 p.m. here at the Los Angeles Tribune. So with that, Dr. Emily, we are so honored. Thank you for co-executive producing Her Story Unfolding with MoRock and the Los Angeles Tribune. And to our viewers, we'll see you on another day of Her Story Unfolding tomorrow and the MoRock show tonight at 6 p.m.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I have a gift for the audience. They can go to americandreamcoach.com and check out a download that will share, some of the insights in business. And thank you so much for having this platform and allowing me to share my story. I tell people it's your typical Vietnamese refugee story, but as soon as I learned that a lot of people don't know that, except for the Vietnamese, I have that drive to share. And thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to do this.
You're welcome, Dr. Emily. And, I'm just putting on the ticker at the bottom what Dr. Emily shared. Check out, is it AmericanDreamCoach.com, Dr. Emily, right?
Yes.
Get your gift at AmericanDreamCoach.com from Dr. Emily Letran. And, from her story, you want to get what she's giving you. So we want to invite you to take advantage of that. Get your gift from Dr. Emily at AmericanDreamCoach.com. With that, thank you so much, Dr. Emily. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to a celebration at the precipice of time, where the power of women knows no bounds. Experience Her Story Unfolding, a reawakening of our collective consciousness to the monumental achievements of our foremothers, a tribute to the battles they fought, rights they've secured, and paths they've paved that women all over the world are continuing to navigate and expand upon. Her stories are unfolding, empowering growing, building legacies of pioneering women by sharing their stories, celebrating their accomplishments, and embracing the rights and privileges they've bestowed to us for generations to come.